Welcome to Right Brain Recess. Today I'm talking all about big brain versus small brain. And I'm currently diving into the book Deep Work by Cal Newport. Highly recommend. Here's a quote, one of my favorites I'll start with. Who you are, what you think, feel, and do, and what you love is the sum of what you focus on. And that is so true, right? Deep work is the same as flow state, and it's a big brain move. It is when you are completely feeling that balance of skills and challenge. You're in the zone, in the flow. You're hyper-focused. You're productive. Your work has meaning and purpose. It's a really wonderful state to be in. And wouldn't we all want some more big brain in our life? Absolutely. Artists, writers, and CEOs know that if they limit their distractions, they get more deep work done, more flow, and more productivity. The problem is a lot of that information does not filter down to the common job, but it's possible. And when you learn how to resist distraction, then you get into flow, right? Nope, not so fast. Easier said than done. It's hard to resist distraction. And the reason why is desire is our default state in our human brain. This was proven in a 2012 study by Wilhelm and Hoffman. What they did is they took 205 adults. They each gave them a small pager. And throughout the day, at random times, the pager would beep. They were supposed to record what were they thinking about and desiring at that moment. And what he found is people are always desiring something. Their mind is not in their body. They're not very mindful of their current state. They're usually thinking about four things: sex, food, sleep, or media. And media is actually the hardest to have any self-control over. So what they discovered is that when you're constantly distracted by media, it is harder for you to access willpower and get into that deep work or big brain flow. So Cal Newport talks about ways that you can learn to fold in some of this time of deep work into your life. One way is the monastic way. And we've all heard of artists leaving for a cabin for a month and creating their masterpiece, or novelists disappearing into the woods, Stephen King writing his novel, Georgia O'Keeffe. This is monastic, and while it's wonderful to be very ascetic and have no distractions, it's unattainable for a lot of us. We don't have that ability to just disconnect from the world and our families. So check that one off our list. The next one is bimodal, and bimodal looks a lot like on or off in large chunks. For example, 1 week on, 1 week off. So this might look like an ER doctor who has 10 shifts on, then 10 days off. And sometimes that works well. Bimodal is great because you can really immerse yourself in that deep work, and then you do get that recovery. Because if you remember, flow state, you need that recovery. You can't be in flow state all the time. It's not comfortable. You need to squeeze your brain's sponge out and then let it relax and soak up that recovery so you can be back in flow again. Now, the bimodal is great, but not a lot of us have that kind of career. So this one, rhythmic deep work, is where I like to support my mentees in understanding. And that's what we do in mentorship, is helping them build some time management skills, whether they're in their own private practice or they're just a resident or another colleague looking for a mentor that can kind of guide them to be more efficient, more optimized in flow, and become the architect of their own masterpiece, right? So rhythmic deep work looks a lot like building an intentional cadence in your day. And I'm going to show you how to do this. So in every career, there is that potential to have flow and big brain work. What you're going to do is just start by making a list. 2 things, a big brain list and a small brain list. And the big brain side might be tasks that are super high value that might take a little more thought and energy, like charting, writing treatment protocols, maybe your PowerPoint lecture, or writing a blog or newsletter. Or they could even be fun videos, things that are fun or taxing but require a lot of your brain effort. The small brain list are little tiny low value tasks, things that you could do quickly, that are annoying maybe perhaps, but they do need to be done, like portal messaging, email inbox, making appointments. And having that list alongside your desk is great, because as you intentionally plan your day with this deep work flow segment, in the sides and the crevices, you can pepper in some of these small little brain tasks and get those done as well. So let me walk you through what this might look like. See, healthcare workers tend to make the same mistake every time. What do? We spend an average of 86 minutes of pajama time at night charting. That's a big brain move, and we're saving it to when we're most fatigued, so it takes us doubly as long. What would happen if we did some intentional cadence planning, some rhythm, and we looked at our day and we had 90 minutes of chunks of flow time? That's what flow state is typically 90 to 120 minutes. 90 minutes is like midway to our morning and midway to our afternoon in a typical family practice schedule. So that might look like you come to work a little earlier while your brain is fresh. Hammer out some big charts. Close out those protocols. Don't touch your inbox. That's what we normally do, right? Walk in and we look at our portal messages in our inbox and suddenly we're overwhelmed. Nope, that is a small brain task. So start with big brain things, then 90 minutes later you take a break. You refuel, get some water, maybe even some meditation, and do some small brain activities like answering messages, looking at your inbox, and then you dive back into another flow, another 90-minute block. And this is how you can learn to optimize your day, even if you have very little control over your schedule. We tend to want to blame others when we're inefficient, like, oh, there's a lot of staff turnover or a lot of burnout, so we have different people floating in and out and they don't know how we work here. It's not the people, it's the systems. So if you find that you're just a morning person, maybe you could talk to your staff and develop a system set in place. No nurses or MAs should bother you with questions until this moment of your day. They can keep a list. Now, of course, if there's emergencies, you talk about what those emergencies would be. You have a list of these hot alert items that can deserve your attention. But when someone's getting your attention, you're giving them energy, and that's draining. So really be careful about how you're doing this, how many times you're interrupted. And also have a system perhaps for refills. If somebody's appointment is updated, you allow and consent to having certain things automated for you as best as you can. The more you automate low, small brain tasks with clear boundaries and definitions, the better your big brain flow state will be. And people will soon be telling you how amazed they are at how productive you are. How do you get all that done? And how do you enjoy what you're doing? And it's simply how you do deep work. If this is good and useful and intriguing to you, I have an exciting announcement. I will be selling digital planners in 2022, highlighting all of these tips that I use in my mentorship through Right Brain Rescue, through a lot of my credentials at the Flow Research Collective. So I am putting this in a workbook that also has a digital planning calendar, so you can see exactly the techniques I do to block out my flow in my day and steal them for your own. So stay tuned. If you aren't getting my newsletters already, please subscribe so you won't miss the announcements for launch. And until next time, keep coloring outside the lines, because we all need you as a vibrant and optimized healer. Have a great day.